Thank you, Mr. Fu Cheng Yu, Honorary Chairman of Global Compact Network China and former Chairman of Sinopec, for that first opening keynote address on raising SDG ambition, doing it the Asian way. And I think he gave us a big question mark or a big challenge there, turning troubles into resources at the end of his presentation or his speech. And I think something that we can look into and think about on how to turn those troubles into resources, turning something negative into positive and making it work towards our way and our vision and mission. Thank you, Mr. Fu Cheng Yu. Right, let's proceed to the next opening keynote address. Please welcome Ms. Fu Lee Mei, Managing Director of Securities Commission Malaysia. Over to you, Ms. Fu Lee Mei.
Distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I hope everyone is keeping well and safe today. Firstly, let me thank the United Nations Global Compact, UNGC, for inviting the SC to deliver the second keynote address this morning. I would like to commend UNGC for organizing this conference at such an opportune time, and the 700 over participants who have signed on today. I'm truly encouraged by your interest and commitment in ESG and sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, the recent concluded UN Climate Change Conference, or COP26 for short, revealed that existing plans on cutting gas emissions by 2030, also known as NDCs, are inadequate. According to new analysis, the world is on track to achieving a disastrous level of global heating of 2.4 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. There is an urgent call for action by all of us. So in the next 10 minutes, I would like to share with you the SC's perspectives on this issue and interventions to accelerate ESG fitness of boards. Now, there are a multitude of stakeholders who must step up their commitment and take action. However, at the heart of corporate governance lies the role of the boards. What does good looks like for boards and listed companies? Now, to illustrate the answer to this question, I would like to approach the issue using three symbols, which all of you are familiar with of late, which is the triangle, the square, and the circle in that order. While obviously leveraging on the popularity of these symbols in the Squid Game recently, but nope, we are not discussing the plot in Ojingo game today. Now, this is the formula of the triangle plus square equals circle. Now, let's start with the triangle, ladies and gentlemen. The deeper symbolic meaning of a triangle is enlightenment, revelation, or a higher perspective. Now, the triangle is also said to be to direct energy and power in the direction which it points. Thus, the first step a director should take in achieving ESG fitness is to acquire knowledge. That higher learning, comprehend the meaning and scope of ESG, and collectively with other board members, identify ESG strategies and risks affecting the company. The 2020 Harvard Business Review highlighted that while 56% of boards thought that they were spending too much time on sustainability, they were in fact merely consumed by compliance tasks instead of building strategies. Thus, to accelerate the ESG fitness momentum, SC will introduce capacity building programs for boards to strengthen board's knowledge and technical know-how in addressing sustainable risks and opportunities. Now, as I said just now, since at the heart of corporate governance lies the role of the board, the board's composition is also critical in ensuring that the company is able to navigate through challenges, remain competitive, and implement strategies to meet investors' expectations. Thus, I would like to reiterate that a well-diverse board is needed in order to enhance the quality of the board's deliberation and decision-making. And by diversity, I mean in all aspects: age, experience, ethnicity, and of course, gender. Now, all else remaining equal, McKinsey's 2019 studies have shown that companies in the first quartile for gender diversity are 25% more likely to have above average profitability than those sitting in the fourth quartile. Now, despite the clear empirical evidence showing the causality of gender diversity on boards and achievement of above average profitability, there are still today 252 listed companies in Bursa, Malaysia, with all male boards. Now, with that, let me move to the square, ladies and gentlemen. The symbolic meaning of the square revolves around dependability, balance, grounding, and direction. Now, the square also has been said to be a symbol that people trust, as the straight line forming the square shows stability. Now, once we have comprehended the importance of embracing ESG, it is time for the board to ensure that these strategies are implemented to provide a solid foundation for governance and sustainable growth. Now, a company grounded in good corporate governance will exhibit ethical and sustainable business practices and is often trusted by its customers and stakeholders. Thus, the famous Milton Friedman's quote that the business of business is business has long been discarded as company leaders begin to embrace concepts of sustainability and corporate responsibility as trust deficit of businesses grew with the rise in corporate scandals. Now, to my mind, transparency is key, as it is the most effective tool for building trust. In this regard, over the last few years, the SC has employed machine learning capabilities to track and analyze the quality and transparency of corporate governance reportings by listed companies. We do see encouraging improvements in the quality of disclosures, with a 12% increase in scores on areas such as how remuneration of boards and senior management are determined, and the process adopted by the board in identifying board candidates. I urge all boards to review their engagement strategies and enhance the quality of their disclosures, focusing not on quantity, but quality of information. The circle, ladies and gentlemen, I now come to my concluding paragraph. As we are well aware, the COVID-19 pandemic has fueled the rise of conscious consumerism. As a result, we see large number of companies committing to achieving net zero or carbon neutral, pledging reduction in greenhouse gas emission, and investing in climate action. The circle in the equation symbolizes totality and wholeness. The fact that it has no sides signals something ongoing or infinite. Now, this state of being should be what good looks like for business of the future, where businesses reflect on their impact on the world, reflect on how their business model is aligned with societal needs, and they are conscious of the need for economic inclusion. Our recent review of sustainability statements of 40 listed companies for 2020 reporting period shows that while these companies had scored highly in terms of compliance with disclosure requirements, only 19 companies, however, identified climate-related considerations as material. Now, moving forward, a sustainability reporting framework to drive more quality disclosures and enhancing transparency will be put in place by the SC. In the short and medium term, we do see greater acceleration in listed companies' focus on climate considerations, in particular decarbonization efforts, as Malaysia strives towards becoming a carbon neutral nation by 2050. Ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia's journey in building a holistic corporate governance ecosystem since 2 decades ago is almost complete. With robust corporate governance principles made applicable to all financial and capital market intermediaries, as well as public listed companies. Now, this success would not have been possible without the close collaboration between regulators, the private sector, CG stakeholders, and recently with the public sector. The Perkukuh initiatives launched recently by the Malaysian government will see the streamlining and adoption of good governance practices amongst government-linked investment companies. The SC is optimistic that good corporate governance will prevail if all stakeholders come together to promote and demand good governance practices. I repeat, we need to demand good governance practices. As I end, I would like to quote what Rohini Nilikani, the founder of Argam Foundation, had once said: "We cannot be mere consumers of good governance. We must be participants. We must be co-creators." And with that, let me leave you to reflect on the formula I shared earlier, which is the triangle plus the square equals the circle. I wish you a productive session ahead. Thank you for your attention.